What is your biggest fear?
Hi, so here's a disclaimer. First of all, this video has been made in a hurry, so it is not going to be aesthetic, and the editing is not up to the mark because I had made this video in a very highly emotionally charged state. First, I would like to start this video by asking you guys, what is your biggest fear? If you are comfortable sharing, then please put it down in the comment section below. Here is mine. So today, my flatmate, the girl who used to stay with me in my apartment and who also happened to be a very, very close friend, maybe even a best friend once, she vacated the apartment. We had a fight yesterday, a tiny fight, no big reason, but for no reason, things were blown out of proportion. Things were escalated, both from her end and mine. And just like that, she decided to vacate the flat. So, yeah, she's gone. And here comes my biggest fear, staying alone. I have never really lived alone. I have lived with my parents. And for college, when I moved out of my native place, it was a hostel where I had a single room, but all the rooms were close by, just adjoining each other. So I never really felt alone. But now I am all alone in a 3 BHK apartment. And earlier, I used to think that I'm quite strong and that I'm very independent and I can stay under any given circumstance. But then once it so happened that I had a panic attack at night and I was all alone in the building, in the whole building, and I had not a single living soul who I could go to, who could soothe me, who could calm me down, or who I could just, have someone in the human form. So ever since, I have had this in my head that I cannot stay alone, especially at night. Days are still okay, but nights, what if I have a panic attack? What if I wake up with uncontrolled anxiety and there is nobody to go to? Even if there are people living here with me, I'm not the kind of person who would go and sit in the rooms all the time and keep chit chatting. No, I mostly stay with myself. But somewhere in your head, you have this, that there are people, there is human presence apart from you in this building. And if you need them, you can go to them. You have that option. So I think that brings me a sense of safety and comfort. But the question is, how long can you go on living with this fear? I don't want to have any fear, but staying alone, this is one situation that I have tried to avoid for a very long time now. And this is one situation that I have dreaded. And finally, now I am in this situation. Initially, we were three people here. One of the friends recently got married, so she had to vacate the apartment. Second was this girl who was my closest friend in Delhi. So now I am all alone over here. And honestly, in the evening, it felt quite, I was in a bit of a shock because I was not expecting her to leave. When I enter her room, I am met with empty desks, empty closets, not a trace of her presence there. So, you know what happens when people are close to you and you let yourself be vulnerable to them? They get to know about your weaknesses and your strengths. They get to see your vulnerabilities. So, there were people in my life who knew that I needed them, and they thought she needs me and she won't be able to do without me. Without me, she won't be able to survive. So, she will come running back to me. There is one such person who I got rid of, and touchwood, all thanks to God, it's been more than a month and I am surviving, I am living. Now, the second person was this lady, my kind friend once, who decided to vacate the flat over a fight. She was also kind of very sure that I would not be able to live without her, that I need her. And so she did this. But this time, I did not stop her, and I'm not going to go chasing people anymore. I think it is high time that I face my fears. So here is my 3 BHK apartment, and I have decided I am not going to look for any more flatmates. I'm done with them. I think I have just developed some kind of phobia with people now, and I think it's just better to be alone by yourself. And sometimes, I wonder why I don't have many friends, because yes, I am not somebody who has a lot of friends. I have always been the kind of person since I was a child who had a very tight little circle, maybe just 2 to 3 friends, but who would be very loyal to me, very close to me. And I was content with them. I didn't feel like I required a whole gang to look cool or anything of that sort, whatever the Gen Z thing. Sometimes I used to feel sad about not having many friends. At times, I have also been called a loner. But someone told me once that I'm not alone by compulsion, I'm alone by choice. If I'm alone today, if I don't have a lot of friends, it's because this is what I chose for myself. Because I was not willing to settle for less. I didn't want to just fit in, I didn't want to make efforts to just fit into a particular group. And so I think I have always been what they say misfit, but I am a misfit and I take great pride in that. Now, finally, I'm here and I am going to deal with my fear. I'm going to face my fear head on. So let's see what I make of this 3 BHK apartment. I have a very tiny room over here, and this is just my little world. The rest of the house does not feel like, it does not feel very homely to me. So the first step that I have planned to do is make this whole house into a beautiful home. Place things in rooms, decorate them, give them a feeling of homeliness so that I feel familiar with them, so that not just this room, but the other 2 rooms also feel like a safe place for me emotionally. I'm actually very, a little apprehensive about what I'm going to do, because this is a huge step that I'm going to take. Because each time I have tried to live alone, it has messed up with my head a great deal. Let me just show you around and then let's work on it together. There you can see this barely looks like a home. This is more like a storage space. And that is the room that my flatmate, once my good friend, vacated. It feels quite sad in here, but we are definitely going to change the appearance of this room and make it look more lively and homely. And this is the other room, the one, the friend who I had who got married. She used to occupy this room. Again, you can see this room is a mess as well. So we need to do a lot of work here and make this place maybe into a library or something. And here is the common area. I'm going to put some nice furnitures over here and get rid of this store room like feeling here. On the closing notes, I just want to tell you guys, if you are someone who has a personality like me, those who you think you are always depending on other people for emotional support or for moral support, and you can't be alone, you always need someone, please know that once somebody understands how important they are for you, they are going to go and sit on Mount Everest. That is very true. And there are a very few exceptions to that. So number one, do not ever let anyone know that they are so important to you. Number two, be independent enough. Even if you are thrown onto an island, you should be able to survive there. All you need is yourself and no one else, because in the end, all you have is yourself. So never ever give anyone that power to think that they are important to you and you need them for your survival or for your happiness.